Alrighty. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I'm your meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson, and I'm back with a Friday night edition of Today's Weather Tonight. You are watching the internet's only comprehensive weather recap show that I know of. Please put me in touch with somebody else who makes one of these if you know them. I'd love to talk. Okay. What we're going to get started with here today, just a rundown for anyone who's watching this show for the first time. This is a comprehensive weather show that covers all waveforms from the volcanic to seismic to atmospheric to Schumann resonance level to or ionospheric to the solar weather all the way up to the planetary weather, and then finally we go beyond the planetary weather with galactic weather or cosmic weather done through a card pull via quantumly entangled entropy. That's what cards are for. That's what pulling cards are. Okay. But I am a real meteorologist. I'm also a real stand-up comedian, so you can take me as seriously as you take either of those disciplines. Okay? Now, let's get started and take a look at our volcano news for today. And what have we got going on here on volcanoes today? We are looking at Samiru continuing to erupt. White Island was what we had news from yesterday. Low-level eruption observed volcanic ash. So we might be getting some sort of actual eruption, not just a gas emission there. Popo is still chugging along, as are most of our South and Central American volcanoes, Sabancaya, Sangay, Nevado del Ruiz, having intermittent emissions, not really exploding. Let's see, on the Rearcast Peninsula, we went over this update yesterday a bit, but we are looking at an increased amount of magma in the magma chamber under the Svartsengi area. The Svartsengi region, that's their geothermal power plant region. Let's just go ahead and take a look at what the Icelandic Met Office has to say about themselves. High amounts of rain expected in the West Fjords and Snæfellsnes for the next 24 hours. Due to the likelihood of landslides and rock falls increase in steep hills, travelers should show caution. Yellow alert for Reykjavik, capital region. Pretty much all of western and central Iceland are under weather advisories, and that means that their data for the earthquakes and also the GPS inflation data is going to be a little bit harder to come by. The quality of the data isn't as good because the measurements take place on the same range of the voltaic scale that like sensing volt-wise or sensing back and forth to a satellite with GPS data. Those are in the same range that effects that we use in sensing. So a touch when you're talking about the GPS signals when it comes to severe weather events in the area. Looking at the entire area, though, we're looking quieter than we had, which isn't really a good thing because, to me, quieter after a period of slightly elevated quakes in observing this particular system means this might be the calm before the storm. We might be looking at any minute now getting a new eruption, because we are still ongoing magma accumulation underneath the Svartsengi. Yeah, our active eruption has stopped, and that means there's no outlet for the pressure building. So it's possible that all this other pressure, I'm not really sure if we should be counting that as for certain 16 million cubic meters accumulated, because some of that has come out, but I'm also not certain how they calculate the outflow from the magma chambers in their calculations of inflation. Basically, big balloons of lava is filling, or magma, because it's under the ground. Big balloon of magma is filling up. And so we're just waiting for that baby to pop. Now, could the severe weather have release any stress in the ground? Could it put more stress in different areas of the surface of the Earth? Who knows what that either tides or moon phase or dike propagation is going to be. My guess, if I had to guess, I would think May 30th, because May 30th is going to be our third quarter moon. It's also going to be when the moon is at perigee. It's where the moon is closest to the Earth, and it's also going to be moon between Saturn and Neptune and Pisces, as well as moon square sun, which is I think we've had either a first or third quarter moon on most of these eruptions. So I'll be looking to see if May 30th is our ticket to volcanic eruption or not. And I mean, if I'm wrong, I get to be wrong. Nobody's really watching, so I get to make crazy forecasts like that. The officials, they're not empowered to make crazy forecasts. So hello chat, hello everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad you're watching. You're all my favorite. I love you very much. I'm gonna figure out how to make special Twitch emotes eventually, but make special bots, but I don't know how to do that yet. I was just trying to see if my socials tagged worked, and it did not yet, so I have to set up that trigger. Oh well, I'm still learning Twitch. It's a very streamlined front end of an application for something that, there's a lot of programming you have to do, or a lot of nitty gritty stuff you have to do behind the scenes to get it the way you want it to. Kind of like going back to the MySpace days, but I don't assume that any of y'all remember MySpace. Okay, so that's my little volcano update. Let's go ahead and turn to our earthquakes, because we've got quite the tectonically active globe right now. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Let me make sure I've got all the feeds I need turned on. I want to make sure we got Euro and Canada turned on, because I haven't had those turned on recently. Yeah. It does bog down my feeds when there are so many earthquakes, but it does help to have multiple sources on. Now, why this can't just run at a decreased value, I don't know. Okay, let's see. Did I crash it? I think I crashed it by turning on too many feeds. Hold on. Let's see. Got USGS, EMSC, Geo Australia. Let's turn one of those off. Yeah. Let's see if that does it better. Okay, there we go. That looks more like it. All right, so we are starting out in North America, and it looks like we have continued to get momentum moving along the back ridge of the Appalachian Mountains. That spine of the mountains, if you will, and those are looking pretty shallow. They're medium shallow. They're in the like 20 to 12 kilometers depth range. So, okay, come back, please. Thank you. But we did have a 2.9 up here in New Jersey and a 3.2 over in, looks like, Ontario, and a 2.7 right near that. These are pretty recently today as well. Also, a lot at the fringes of Newfoundland, like a 3.5 at 10 kilometers depth, 2.7 and a 2.8, both at 18 kilometers, 2.8, all leading up to this top of the world quake. 4.5 is where that was yesterday, was the 4.5, and all of this has been since then. Medium shallow quakes, and I've already turned off everything below a 2. I've already turned off everything below a 2. So the quakes that are listed are all at least a magnitude 2. So things that we note on the East Coast is like, ooh, we had a little something. That's how many there are over in California and Texas right now. Just tons and tons of 2s and 3s going on out there. Thankfully, nothing higher, but I tell you, if this amount of energy struck in one place, that would be the equivalent of multiple 5s. That would be the equivalent of many, many earthquakes. We did get a 4.2 up here off the coast of Vancouver Island, though. I know Dutch has talked about what's going on off of Vancouver Island, but I forget what it is, so go look it up. Look it up from the earthquake experts. I'm not an earthquake expert. I am just somebody who recaps earthquakes as part of the weather recap. But looking in the Pacific coastline of Mexico, we are having a lot more 3s to 4s centered around Popocatépetl volcano, active here. I don't know why it's not shaded as active. And these have been, I'd say, medium depth. They're medium shallow quakes. They're not very shallow, but they are not too deep in the earth. So would be potentially able to be felt by some things. But now when we get down here into Nicaragua, we are looking at a 4.6 at 203 kilometers depth. And that's right next to Concepcion, I think, is the volcano there. Over in Puerto Rico, again, seeing lots of 2s, 3s, and 4s. I mean, this is looking like its own little West Texas or Southern California at this point. The Puerto Rico Trench is really active right now. Now, as we get into South America, we are looking at some, I think, Ecuadorian quakes, looking at some in Peru and near Bolivia border region. We're looking at, that 4.3 is all the way up there. 4.9 here, 4.5. Yes, that's here. And let me turn on the borders because I always get confused in this little Argentina, Chile, Bolivia border. Okay, this is in Argentina. But yeah, that is, as we work our way back up the coast, though, we're looking at some of these are, it's very hard to tell. But we are looking at a little bit more activity than we had. We'd gotten a little bit of a break in South America, but it is ticked up again. I know this looks so busy, but I swear I already took off the sub 2 quakes. This is just everything a 2 and above. Like, can you even imagine how active this Earth is? If this is taking off tremor level. This is taking out anything that's tremor level. Oh, did I miss anything? Oh yeah, South Sandwich Islands regions. We got that 4.6 and 5.0, and the 5.3 was from the 21st. You know what? I might be a few days out. So let's see if these, yeah, these are looking like mostly 23rd, 24th, 25th. Okay. So actually, we didn't get any new quakes in the Southern Appalachians today, but we did get those new quakes up in the Newfoundland area. Now, as we take it over to Alaska, gonna have to take these ring sizes down again. A nice little curve showing attenuation of the energy at the apex of the curve. You're seeing 4.2 way up here on the Canada side of the Alaska-Canada border up in the Arctic Circle. That's at 10 kilometers depth, of course. 4.5 and a 4.7 out here on the Aleutian Island chain, and some aftershocks in the Fox Islands where we saw that 6.0 a few days ago. Now, a stack of 2s in Hawaii doesn't look that bad after what we just got out of the unrest Hawaii just had. This 4.9 was right above the H-shaped plate boundary off the coast of Japan, and a 5.0 in the middle of Siberia in Russia. I wonder if that has anything to do with, I wonder if there's another methane bomb going off. If y'all haven't heard about that, there are permafrost thaws that are causing trapped there's organic material trapped in the soil in the permafrost, like it's the sprinkles in a funfetti cupcake. And as the permafrost melts, as that cupcake gets squished down, so does the organic matter, and the organic matter gets exposed to atmospheric temperatures and humidities and pressures and pathogens that break down the organic matter, and that creates methane. The methane is also squished, and this creates a bomb. And that's what the deal is with all those giant massive sinkholes in Siberia. So I always have to wonder when I see 5.0 at 11 kilometers depth. That's not on the surface, but you gotta wonder the impact on permafrost thaw that any earthquakes in the region would have. On both sides of the diamond-shaped plate, we've got a 4.9 and a stack of 4.2, 4.2, yeah, 3 4.2s and a 4.6, 4.9 here right in the middle of Indonesia, and that is where we have an active volcano right now. I forget which one, but that is, I believe that might be Dukono, or no, that's where we have the eruption Lewotolo and Lewotolo, maybe. My volcanoes aren't popping up on this, but we've got a 4.6 here off the coast of Papua New Guinea, and that is bad because Papua New Guinea is also dealing with a massive mudslide avalanche that just occurred in a very rural area, killing hundreds. Really, unfortunately, rescue efforts are actively underway right now, but they've gotten a lot of rain and a lot of earthquakes and there's a lot of volcanic activity in the area. All of that makes for very unstable Earth. I could also point to some things in the planets with that, but I'm going to leave that for the professional astrologers to analyze. I'm just an amateur astrologer. Now, all these other medium deep quakes around it, though. This 5.0 looks like it was a surface 5.0, and I wonder if that is anywhere near where that mudslide took place. There's also this 4.5 on a remote island there. Really quiet from the Fiji Islands region. I don't think we've had anything since yesterday. Oh no, all we've had is 4.6 at 107 kilometers depth. So no energy coming up out of the earth from there. continuing to see things in the mainland of Australia, that south coast of Australia, still seeing some earthquakes. And that's a notable place because usually quakes are going along these rivers or around these streams, the tectonic plate boundaries. But we might have some fracture zones in there that are getting activated right now. Also, down on the Arctic and or Antarctic and Australian plate boundary, we got a 4.6. But the Antarctic plate has had a little ring around the rosy, a little ring of quakes around it lately. Yeah, as we move into the mainland of Asia, we got another stack of quakes here up at the northwestern border region of China. I think this is right near the it's not the Gobi Desert. Is it the Gobi Desert? It's one of the largest deserts in the world. It's the largest desert in China. This is Mongolia, and I thought that's where the Gobi Desert was, but maybe this counts as a start. I don't remember. But I'm getting unconfident and they took away my data. Okay. Here we go. Oh, let me just check that my stream is still going. Okay, yes. Hello, everybody watching. Okay, so checking that out, we had 4.4, 3, 1, and 8 stacked in this area in Western China. We also have a 4.2 here in the Afghanistan, Tajikistan border region, of course, as always. That is a very hot spot. It's also right at the pinnacle tip of the wave shape in this plate boundary, where India came up in the subcontinent. If India came up and crashed into the Asian continent. We went over the 5.5 and 5.0 yesterday, and the 4.2 in Iran, but not seeing much new out of Italy. I guess the newest thing is this 4.0 right here down at the southern tip of Italy. That's 10 kilometers depth. I forget which area that is called, but it would be right on the ball of the foot of the boot is where that happened. And I'm not ignoring this. This is just our regular cluster of quakes around Greece that we've been seeing regularly for a couple weeks now. Lots of 2s and 3s, upper 3s. We're getting into the 3.9 range, but nothing breaking 4 until we get into Italy. And let me just check that I didn't miss anything. And turn on my lower quakes. There's even more. Oh, we had a 4.7 here. And I know that I forgot which country this is. Okay, this is the Congo. How could I forget? Yeah, we had a, let's see, 4.7 at 10 kilometers depth in the Congo. So that is really deep in there. Pretty far away from this lake that had massive flooding a few weeks ago. But really right in the heart of the sub-Saharan Africa region. That's like right smack dab in the middle of the continent. So 4.7 right perfectly in the center. That's quite interesting. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know why earthquakes happen away from fault zones, but maybe you do. 5.5, we talked about that in our Antarctic roundup. And yeah, a lot. I think the big headline from our earthquakes is all these weird quakes here on the Newfoundland coast. Just really don't see that many Canadian quakes that often. Yeah. So from earthquakes, we will go up in the atmosphere to the atmosphere, of course. So let's take a look at our active radar. Taking a look at Radar Omega. This is not sponsored, but Radar Omega, if you would like to sponsor me, I would love that. me and all 3 of my viewers would love that. Hi, 3 viewers. Okay, so as we are looking at self-centeredly where I live in North Carolina, we've got rain sweeping off the coast of Kitty Hawk going from Greenville, North Carolina. And there's also rain near Greenville, South Carolina. There's also rain up here near the Tennessee-Kentucky border. I think we were forecast to have a little bit more active weather there tonight. We do have a special weather statement here in Lexington for winds up to 40 miles per hour, but I don't think the big players won't get there until later tonight, and those are these 2 storms right here. So this is the low bowing frontal boundary of this really nicely set up mid-latitude cyclone that we saw kind of peaking in its formation yesterday, but this is peaking in the severe format of this is a very compressed wave. So like instead of a nice C shape like this, it's getting smushed up like this, and that is creating more vorticity in a really, really simplified way. It's not necessarily anyway. Sweeping through St. Louis right now are some pretty strong storms. We've got hail up to where the severe thunderstorm warned up to an inch, quarter-sized hail, and winds up to 60 miles per hour. That's in St. Louis, Missouri, and moving into the Illinois side of it now, crossing over the Mississippi. But Illinois already got hit pretty hard today with this first bowing, well, not really a bowing line segment. The whole thing makes a bow if you see it, like a C shape, like a crescent moon shape. And that it's kind of compressing into that more now. As that at the beginning of these 30 frames, you saw it was a bit more spread out, but I think as the sun sets, this has become more driven by the momentum of what's already going on and not any new heating added to the backside. So this is just now a wind-driven storm back there. And I mean, this is obviously going right along that line. Let's see. We are in tornado watches everywhere that you see these pink boundaries, these pink polygons. So here in Branson, we have another special warning statement, and that storm doesn't look awesome. Let's take a look at it on single site. No, I'm going to do the Springfield one. Yeah, not looking fun. Not looking fun if you are in Branson, Missouri. It's kind of nasty. Let's look at reflective. Let's look at reflectivity. Reflectivity. Yeah, I'm not, well, I was going to say I'm not too concerned about that bowing up, but as you see, you've got this inflow here. This northern, you've got this northern component here. It almost looks like this wants to create, if this created any rotation, it would be clockwise, because we're coming up the backside and sweeping down the front side. Do you see that? How we're getting 2 meeting, but the one moving southward is coming from the east component and the one moving northward is coming from the west component. That to me says there's going to be some weird, funky winds. I would not be shocked if we saw another very strange anticyclonic rotation, not tornado, but if we got some anticyclonic rotation going on in this Branson, Missouri area. That is also where we're getting a kind of a convergence. That's the exact area we're getting a convergence of these 2 different systems, the one that's in Texas and the one that is really started up here in the Minnesota-Wisconsin border. But while we're down here, we should talk about Little Rock because they are dealing with a lot of power outages there down in near the capital of Arkansas. Is that the capital, Little Rock? Or is that one of those states with one of those, like, nobody knows it capitals? I feel like it might be that. Let's take a look at reflectivity. Take a look at reflectivity. Down here in Arkansas. Looking at some moderately high DBZ values. We did peek into the cyan range of the DBZ. That's 71. In the 70 DBZ range here. And you can see, again, as we get into the sunset hours, our bows start to form. We're getting those real nice arc-shaped storms. But looking clear finally here. Well, actually, no. Don't look clear in Texas because we've got this nasty little booger right here. Probably, it's definitely warned for flooding. We got a flash flood warning and a severe thunderstorm warning, $half size hail, and winds up to 60 miles per hour. And that's in areas where we already had some power outages. And Texas has been really dumped on this spring. Like, if ever there was cause for reflection upon your land usage, maybe Texas has gotten that this year. As we move into Tyler, Texas, and Jacksonville, Texas, we are also getting some heavy precipitation. Let's see. Yeah, looks like we're getting that slow roll, that slow wave crashing shape going on over there. So, I don't know. I'm looking out at this weird little abomination of a storm in Branson to do something weird. We have had tornado warnings already today. So let's go ahead and check our storm reports let's check our storm reports to see where all of our tornado observation, where did we get observed tornadoes today? Oh, it would probably help if I switched over the view in OBS, huh? Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, there we go. Looking at the Storm Prediction Center's storm reports for today, May 24th, 2024. We had 4 tornado reports, one all the way up here in southeastern North Dakota, and the other 3 were in this little cluster in Illinois. I think those were just a couple hours ago. Let's see. Yeah, well, one of them, the Richland, North Dakota, that was actually the more recent one. The others came around 1 o'clock, and this one came around 7:55. So, broadcast media relays video of tornado on the ground, so maybe that was, could have been from a different day. But in Rock Island and Henry, Illinois, we did have ambulance reporting tornadoes and uprooted trees. Yeah. Lots more hail reports today. Lots more hail and wind. The Tyler, Texas tornado, or not Tyler, Texas storm right now is producing a lot of hail. I think these hail reports are the most recent, and we're looking at 200. I think that's in centimeters. Let's see. Oh, that was an observation from there, just north of Dixon. Oh, that's in Missouri. That's not the Texas one. Texas one is saying golf ball size hail, quarter size hail, golf ball size hail. Yeah, golf ball size hail down in Navarro, Texas, and quarter-size hail up in Pulaski, Missouri, or Dixon, Missouri, whichever one we're thinking of. But so, yeah, our baseball-size hail was reported in Yalobusha, Mississippi. Yalobusha, Mississippi is how I would say it, but I don't see any. Well, yes, I do. I do see some. There are some storms in Mississippi right now, but I bet that those were from earlier in the day, something I'm not seeing on radar right now. Okay, so this is our storm reports for today, and that is after yesterday's storm reports were pretty devastating across Nebraska and Iowa, but this is hopefully the last day of severe thunderstorming consecutively. It seems like almost the entire month of May there have been severe storm watches or warnings going on, which is typical. That's what you expect in Taurus season. It's severe weather season, but there hasn't been a very much ebb and flow of it. It's just kind of been one big onslaught of storms after another. It's interesting. You can almost even see the shape of the storm in these storm reports, because you can kind of see that triangle pointing to where the wave crashes. That's the shape that the crashing waves make. I've done this illustration 1,000 times, but this shape, it's both a very easy way to draw a wave, and it's the shape that middle latitude cyclones eventually take. You can map this kind of, and it goes wider. It goes out more like a triangle sometimes too. I don't know if my microphone's in the way, but it goes out wider at the base most of the time, and most of the down here is where you'll see that frontal boundary, and up here is the center of circulation. So right now the center of circulation for our active storm is up here where you see the red dot in North Dakota, and the triangle that makes up the arcing up of the wave is what you see peaking around Chicago. Oh, by the way, if I'm making a coloring book, and I'm doing a page each month, so comment if you want to know how to get my high quality coloring book. I just do a fun little meditation every month. It's my doodle meditation, and I love to do it. Okay, speaking of what I love to do, I love to talk about the weather. So let's continue talking about the weather. We're going to take a quick look in at Null Earth to take a look at our global weather patterns, because I know my radar Omega feed is a little bit biased towards America or North America. These are our surface winds, and I believe we're looking at temperatures. So looking at, as this is the area also that we got a bunch of earthquakes in. I guess there's no coincidence, or I guess it's a coincidence that the lobe of cold polar air is just hanging out over this area. I always think of cold air as like a big heavy foot pressing down on, say, like the floor of a bouncy castle. You can see the foot sink down and kind of like pull this, and the ridges being the hot air around it kind of, but that's really more about low and high pressure, not about the temperatures, but you know what I'm saying. You can even see our center of circulation on radar, or on the wind streams right here. Let's take a look up at the mixed-ish layer. Obviously, it depends on where you are in the storm, what level is in a mixing layer or not. But 850 to 700 is usually where we're looking for the moisture. So let's actually take a look at our relative humidities at 850 hectopascals. And that shows you where we're actually seeing a lot of the severe weather breakout. Let's see. Looks like we've got a good deal of that going on in Alaska as well. These are low pressure cyclonic rotations. This is the cyclonic rotation direction in the northern hemisphere. Whereas out here, we've got this nice big high between Hawaii and Alaska that's shown by the clockwise or anticyclonic rotations. Then down in the southern hemisphere, when we see something clockwise, that actually is a cyclonic rotation. And when we see something counterclockwise, that is an anticyclonic rotation in the southern hemisphere because of the way the Coriolis force works. The symmetry is that two things would be cyclonic and being going off the equator symmetrically, but they're going to curve what looks like opposite waves, even though they both have momentum in the same inward or outward direction. I will talk so long about the mechanics of the air, so let me just keep going. Got a cyclone off the coast off the Shivaluk Peninsula. We've also got some decently dry air setting up in Australia, but they're going into winter, so it should be dry. And unfortunately, some continually tropical. I mean, it's the equator. It's the western Pacific in the middle of May, beginning of June. It's gonna be hot and wet and rainy. Speaking of hot, wet, and rainy, that is definitely what we're seeing for the folks here in I keep wanting to call this the Bay of Bengal, but I don't remember if that's what it is or not. This bay right here, where we got this delta region, they are getting pummeled with some nasty weather. And if we take a look at their misery index, yeah, buddy, that is hot and humid. That is not going to evaporate water from your skin very fast. That's just really unfortunate for everybody there. Let's go back to relative humidity because I like that as an analog for weather. Relative humidity at the 850 level. This is just a relative humidity at the 850 level being in the blue here shows where storms could form, and based on the wind patterns, the wind streams is what I'm going with of what's probably happening. Oh, you know what I haven't done in a while? We haven't taken a look at the GOES satellite. No earthquake. This is where the earthquake in Congo struck, and I don't see any storms near that. So I always think it's really interesting when storms line up with where the earthquakes are going, just because I'm a nerd. Let's take a look at GOES because I haven't done the GOES. By the way, we have 5 viewers in here. Hi, everybody, introduce yourself to each other. I love you all very much. If you're here, that means I love you. That's just the simple fact of it. I'm really excited to be streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, so y'all might not see each other's comments if there are people commenting on one or the other. But I am live on both Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, but Twitter doesn't have chat feature enabled, so I don't ever see anybody commenting from there. Okay, so this is my favorite product from the GOES 16. I believe this is GOES 16. I mean, we have GOES 18 out there, but I don't remember if they use that for the GOES image viewer. I don't know why it would be the older one, but anyway, what I'm saying is we have the geocolor satellite turned on as the main image, and then the wind barbs that you see are the wind direction and speed at varying heights in the atmosphere, cyan doing the lower chunk, yellow doing the middle chunk, and red doing the top chunk. So our upper level winds, you can see upper level wind divergence when there's reds start to spread. And then in a certain spot, if all three colors point in different directions, you can see if there's veering or backing. It's like a really nice, neat way to analyze a lot of like three-dimensional information in one image. So here we see the tropical jet stream coming up because we have this nice ridge parked across the western half of the United States. We're sucking up moisture from that, from the Pacific Ocean, from both the Pacific Ocean and over the Gulf Stream. You see at the surface level, at the yellow and blue level, and it's hard. These winds are based on how fast the clouds are moving on the radar. So in areas where there aren't clouds to measure the direction of, you don't get good information of where the. Actually, let's do a 36-hour loop, and then we can see. Yeah, that shows us the inflow a little bit better. This shows us the inflow. This goes from yesterday's really tightly defined rotation there into the overnight hours. Let's do 48. See how far we can push it before my computer hates it. This was yesterday's outbreak. And you can see what I was talking about. This looks like a big, if you were looking sideways at an ocean wave crashing, that's what a cyclone looks like, and that's what it really is. You can see down here in the Gulf of Mexico, we've got this nice inflow of Gulf of Mexico moisture and heat, and the sea surface temperatures out here are just, we got a lot of heat out here in this ocean. This is like soupy bathwater. The big old bathtub of the Gulf of Mexico, or the Gulf of Moisture, as I like to call it sometimes by accident. Gulf of Mexico moisture is sweeping into the Gulf shore, while we've got the tropical jet from the Pacific Ocean sweeping in to get sucked up into this ridge that is all part of our polar pattern. So this is really bringing forth all that we can there. But this strong rotation here in the upper plains is also sucking down that trough energy from over Canada. So we're getting a lot of that northern continental, colder, drier air at almost a right angle to where we are getting in hot and moist air. And when those go together, they do like this. They do a cyclone. The two air masses being very different, having two feeds of really cold and dry and really warm and moist air is how our severe weather outbreaks happen. And the more squished and weird and twisted they get, while still maintaining those good constant streams of inflow, the better the engine of the storm can work. A storm is a heat engine. In fact, that's what happens in a severe thunderstorm, is actually like it's just a big engine made out of water in the sky, but we don't think about it because we don't like see the exhaust. We see it as clouds. But yeah, this is the clouds. This is the exhaust it's making is clouds. So really spraying up a lot of convection over the mid-Atlantic region on the front side of this as well, because we did have on the other side of this another little bitty trough coming in, and you can really see the upper level divergence at the top of this cyclone. GOES just doesn't have a very good read on that. Looking to the future, though, looks like we are sucking in a lot of air from the Alaska region and off the coast of that Hawaii, that Pineapple Express moisture train that California gets. So we're still looking interesting going into the future, but it might be a little bit more of a laminar flow and not a turbulent flow. One day I'm going to go on to a laminar versus turbulent flow rant, and you're going to love it. But I don't have time for that today because we got to get to our Schumann resonances. Now, if you don't remember what the Schumann resonances are, they are a measure of the frequency of lightning strikes or energy exchanges between the ionosphere and the surface of the Earth. Looks like we finally cooled down in the last, I'd say 20-ish hours. We finally cooled down from all these huge information spikes, these big downloads of power from the ionosphere into the Earth. And I think that tracks because we just had our full moon. Full moon probably like pushed a lot of this. It has to do with the magnetotail of the Earth. There's a magnetosphere around the Earth, and the moon actually, its orbit is within the magnetosphere and is probably partially helps sustain it. When we move into a full moon period with this, like the sun here, Earth here, and the moon here, there is a magnetosphere around the Earth that gets dragged out by solar wind in like a comet tail shape. So during a full moon, the moon rotates into the magnetotail of the Earth, and that can actually trigger ion precipitation by changing the magnetic field structure within the ionosphere and the Earth's magnetosphere, just by the moon being within a different like grade. It's in a different concentration of the magnetic sphere of the Earth because it gets blown out by the solar wind. So as it moves out of the magnetotail, I think we're looking at maybe getting a little bit less Schumann activity. But look down here, we do have a blip in mode 4, a little spike in mode 4. And I feel like, as I've said again, citing Stefan Burns from the YouTube University of Geophysics, mode 4 might be a connection with earthquakes. So let's keep an eye out for more energy coming from the inside of the Earth. Let's take a look at the amplitudes. Yeah, really. Oh, interesting. We do see that blip show up on the power going into mode 4. That is really cool. Because none of the other modes look like they had that blip. Is our frequency raising because of this? Yes, it looks like the mode 2 has stayed pretty nominal, but at least our mode 1 frequency has gotten back up to closer to 8 hertz level than it is to 6.5 hertz. So, but we weren't even that low to begin with. 7.83 is the average resting heart rate of the Earth, average resting mode 1 of the Earth. And remember that all of these modes do correspond to the same exact frequency bands that your neural synapses fire at. So about the same rate that there's, it's not the firing necessarily happening at that rate. It's the net resonance structure of those firings are happening at a alpha, beta, gamma, and theta, and then gamma and delta region brainwaves. Those are the same. Those brainwaves. What even sentence structure is this? The frequencies that brainwaves happen at is the same frequencies that the Schumann resonances happen at. So you can, if you don't have any reference point for what mode 1, 2, 3, and 4 mean, you can think of it as just convert these frequencies into brainwave frequencies, and you would understand the general vibe of the different types of Schumann resonances. And the ones below 7 would be not included here, but when we look at our sonogram, that is, we do see power going on at all the little bands below 1 as well. There's also a band where the power grid sits at 50 and 60 hertz. I want to say it's 50 and 60 hertz, but I don't remember. I think it's different in different countries too. So let's take a look now, as we were talking about solar wind. Let's go to look at our space weather. It says no noteworthy space weather, but we had 10 coronal mass ejections today, and that's sometimes there's none. But we also had 2 that were marked in the type 2 possible full halo category. That was the first one. And here's the second one. These are beautiful. They look like they're coming out the top. So probably not too Earth directed. Let's look at what that has meant on the video. Let's see. Is this one the solar flare mass ejections? Okay, yeah. Looking at the 193 angstroms view, says, dare I try to get the high cadence image if we're already freezing this bad? Vertical screen simulcast. Oh, I know I can do this in, I just downloaded the Streamlabs. I did just download the Streamlabs software for broadcasting that I can use like OBS, and it does a vertical screen simulcast. So, Wes, let's talk about that. Let's reconnect offline. Let's circle back. I would like to be able to consult with me as my technical advisors on this project. Go look at 193. Yeah, there's a big coronal hole up here. I bet that's pushing out some fast solar wind for whatever has a component in that northern direction. Ooh, yeah, that was it. That was that big. Let's watch. Yeah, oh man, that is really cool looking. You can see this little filament start to rise off, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't have anything to grab onto and just releases. So any of these bent tubes of plasma that you see, those are stable, those are fine. But it's the ones that get a little too straight, a little too cut off, a little too snappy, that just break like a rubber band. Also, any of them that get too windy and complex. That's a really, really pretty image of that coronal mass ejection. I mean, it's on the limb, but I feel like we got some really cool footage out of that. That's really pretty. And it looks like it slapped backwards, like towards the earth. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a whip-like function and there was a lot of like, you know, like if I had a whip in my, oh, here we go. It's like the coronal mass ejections went like that's what it's giving. It's giving very, the sun is flogging itself. You know what I mean? Like, look at this image and tell me the sun's not flogging itself. Like, come on now. It is. Sun, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? See it one more time. Kind of slaps back towards that coronal hole area. Okay, that's really cool. Let's take a look at the solar flares. Yeah. Oh, cute. Oh my gosh. Platform switch. Okay. Welcome to Twitch. I hope I get other Twitch viewers, but I've been trying to go on other Twitch streams and like meet streamers and just watch people do the platform a little more to figure out what the options even are. And man, there's so many things I want to do on there. I need to figure out how to set stuff up in my little dock down there. I need to figure out how to make a bot to moderate my chat. I need to figure out how to do command prompts in my chat and set emotes and are what I need to do to be able to do that. All of that stuff. I need to figure out. I know that you use a private Discord for some stuff, like being a PNG tuber. I figured that out. But which I could be cool doing that. I feel like I could do a cool little cloud. That'd be cute. We had 3 M flares today. Not really anything big to talk about, but region 3679 is showing itself to be a pretty decent player. I believe it's all the way on its way out, but saying sayonara to that one's a little sad. Let's see. Our hemispheric power is up. We went into the... We're in the south-facing component now. We have a kind of high, a medium high, around 8-ish, almost 8 nanotesla interplanetary magnetic field, and medium high solar wind as well. But we've got some pretty high hemispheric power. That is quite interesting. Now, as we move out of the solar weather, we've got our planetary weather to talk about. And the planetary weather, let's go ahead and refresh, by the way. Now, we are in a Venus day and in a Venus hour. We believe we started the broadcast in a Venus hour, or at least in local time we did. We've got Friday, Freya's Day, Venus Day. I like to broadcast in the day and hour, planetary hour of the planet whose day it is. And so let's start off by talking about Venus. What's she up to? Venus is hanging out here at the 1st degree of Gemini, which is really cool. Really good new start, new anus tart, a new start. To Gemini season with a trine Pluto in Aquarius. Everyone, I feel like this is outward world thing as so much as an inward world thing of evaluating all their relationships to all kinds of tech and how we communicate through it and how we learn and pursue higher knowledge through it. Pursuit of higher knowledge through our relationship to technology is feeling like a big theme in this Sagittarius full moon transit as we start off Gemini season with a beautiful full moon Sorry, sometimes the thing cuts out and I just don't even know when it stops. Because I'm looking at this in another window so that the computer doesn't have to load my video to show me because it like slows it down. Also, it's just easier to look at the big screen. I guess I could do a small screen, but that also changes the aspect ratio of this. I don't know. Okay, anyway, what I was saying is I'm about to do, that was the planetary reading. Let's do some cosmic reading. This is going to be an update on our cosmic weather. Usually by now, I've got a little bit later, like a little closer to midnight. I wonder if I can see if any of them are on. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Okay. I had to alert one of my one viewers that I'm live. Okay. Let's go. Well, I've got 2 viewers. I've got a nice handful of you now, and I love you all very much. Okay. All right. So, for this part of the weather, we get a read on the cosmic weather, the vibes that are coming in forms that we don't always fully get yet, and usually manifest themselves through cartomancy. We're listening for the cosmic weather at the moment. For everyone out there, for everyone who's dealing with this, what is the read? What's the weather report from today? What was the whole deal? What was the whole vibe? What was the whole what was today's deal? What was the deal with today? What was the deal with today? What was today's whole theme? Oh, 2 popped out. And I think I did. Okay. Through the corridor of my joy is the pathway to my desire. Got 2 people walking under an umbrella in the rain. Through the corridor of my joy is the pathway to my desire. Most say, when I get that, I will be joyful. But you must be joyful first. You must start with the determination that I will not settle for less than good feelings. All right, and we also got, it is not my work to control others. Got a beautiful little butterfly moth looking thing. Trying to limit anybody about anything defies the laws of the universe. It cannot be done. You cannot control others, but you can control and create your own reality. So that is beautiful encouragement, but let's get more of a read on today. That might be a bit more of a read. Let's see. From the liminal space deck. We'll ASMR for you. Liminal space deck. All right, liminal space deck. Give us the real tea. What was the truth about today? What was the cosmic vibes from today? What were today's cosmic vibes? What's the cosmic weather like? What's coming in from all levels that we can't perceive with telescopes? Everything beyond what we think beyond. What's the deal from the outside? Biggest outside. Okay. An offering. This is a very positive one as well. Where'd I go? Okay. Yes, this is a very short one. An offering. If you're looking for a sign, this is it. An offering. Got a little feather going through a portal and making some sort of little bubbly splashes as it waves in. Feather that looks very wavy. See if it'll focus. Doesn't really want to focus. But, yeah. That's a nice one. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do a card from the tarot. I was debating doing one or not. I think I do want to. Oh, it came out real soon. Oh, no, that's too many. Is it? No. You know what? I'm going for it. Ooh. So, interesting. Came out like this. Strength reversed. The 8 of Wands upright. And the Page of Pentacles reversed. That was almost immediately when I started shuffling the deck. This is what came out. So, I'm going to move my camera to the cards. I'll face them to you. So what we've gotten for today so far is an offering. If you're looking for, this is it. And it is not my work to control others, as well as through the corridor of my joy is the pathway to my desire. So, strength reversed, first of all, to me has always meant inner peace and, or not inner peace, inner strength. The tenacity that you go on and find within, the strength that you give yourself, the strength of the softness that you allow yourself, as well as times of discipline, the strength of having the ability, not only the strength of love and will here in this relationship from this way, but the strength of the lion not to lash out. Also, there's a beautiful strength in how feminine this card appears, yet there's a yellow masculine background. There's lots of signs of fertility and the earth and the feminine alignment, though. So there's something about balance in there as well. The Eight of Wands upright is always, to me, given two in the fire, but a funny mix up of that I always laugh about with my mom is too many oars in the fire, not logs on the fire or oars in the boat, but too many oars in the fire. You've got a lot of action pathways, a lot of things that can happen, and a lot of things that are happening simultaneously. And sometimes it can be little sub packets of lots of different things you have to do for major different threads in your life. I'm seeing these as like groups of 2, 2, and 4, being like, there's a lot of, there's its own rhythm. These are not all happening at once. They're not exactly aligned. They are just enough that it feels like there's only one stick burning at the same time, but you've got 8 sticks burning at the same time. So there might be that you need to have the inner strength to know when to stop doing a certain thing or when to take something off your plate. But this is also coming with the Page of Pentacles reversed, so that might mean either the internalization of a new material opportunity, or if we're going in the context of these two cards, maybe having to give up a source of income or stability or something gratifying about the material world by giving up one of these, let's call them hobbies or jobs or like things that you've got going on of. Maybe because it is not your work to control others, maybe if it's not your work to control others, then instead of changing what you wish you could change about something else, maybe you could change that about not the same thing about yourself, but like maybe you should, instead of needing life to be easier from someone else in your life, and by trying to control them, thinking that you need them to be different for your life to be different, maybe you can look within and see what could be different in your life that is up to you, which is the things that you sign up for, even if it might cost you something materially. But how you pick what you stick with and let go of is through the corridor of my joy is the pathway to my desire. You figure out which thing to take off your plate based on what brings you the most joy. Like, it's a very surprisingly clear reading right now. Really cool how that came together. But yeah, that is what's going on. I feel like that is probably the Jupiter energy coming into aspect with Mercury in Taurus. Mercury and Taurus being co-president with Jupiter and Taurus, and Mercury coming into aspect with Saturn and Pisces. at the Jupiter full moon, or the Jupiter full moon, the Sagittarius full moon, that is very much, you have so much abundance. Now you need to figure out what to reap and when to harvest certain things, so to speak. Because ending a pathway doesn't always mean it's over. It means, or it doesn't, it means it's over, but it comes to a completion of a phrase in the song of what that activity was for you. Yeah. Had to ask my crystal there for a second. Yeah. Okay. So follow your joy, and that is how you will figure out where to let go of certain activities. You got too many oars in the fire, kid, and it feels like, yeah, you got yeah, but you're like, oh, I only get like, sometimes I have 2 things a day, and it's just on every other day. This reading is coming for me, I think. This reading is reading me. All right. Speaking of which, I'm going to go do those things that I'm doing too much of. I'm going to keep working on learning how to do stuff technically for the stream. And also, I think I might be going on Twitch to play Bejeweled later. So I'm going to try and figure out what it's like to stream just from Twitch alone. So come through and see that if you want to hang out. All right. Love you guys. Goodbye.